Our next topic, some of the challenges of proving damages. And by damages, I mean the harms that were caused by the negligence. So again, if we go back to the diagram, we have to prove fault, and we know there were these harms, then we have to prove that these harms were caused by this negligence. So where do we look first? Well, we talk to the injured party. We talk to the client, right? They give us details. But I will tell you, sometimes we're not the best source of information for our own lives. I've seen people in situations where the doctor says, "How are you doing today?" And they said, "I'm fine." And their spouse standing next to them starts shaking their head and says, "No, he's not." And I used to think it was just men, but it's women too. It's not gender-based. You have some people that are very hard-headed, men and women, and they don't want the attention. They don't want to complain. They just want to move forward and get things done. And usually they put themselves kind of lower on the priority list. They're taking care of their family. They're taking care of others. They're kind of inherent caregivers. They're warriors, right? So sometimes you have to reach out and talk to their coworkers, talk to their family members, talk to their friends to understand how they've been affected emotionally and physically. And those harms, whether it's the treatment issues of the past or the future, or the economic harms, or the pain and suffering and quality of life issues, all of these harms over here, the monetary side, the dollar compensation, the restitution side, all of that requires proof. And who has the burden of proof? The injured person. So even if you prove negligence, you still have to prove harms. What happens with doctors? Doctors frequently, they ask the questions. They want to know what the history was. They want to know how the person's been affected, but more and more often, they're limited with their time. So the responsibility is on the patient to make sure they tell the story accurately of what happened, where it happened, that sort of thing, and that they follow up with care. Right? And some doctors, if they know there's a legal claim, they're reluctant to get involved. And other doctors, they're great advocates. They're really there to make sure they're supporting and really an advocate for their patient, okay? What's one of the other issues you have is gaps in care. People are distracted by their life, going back to work. They don't follow up. They don't get the treatment they need, okay? Or maybe they don't have insurance, and there's challenges about access to care. Or maybe they have different kinds of insurance that restrict them to just certain clinics. So there's challenges all the way through this about getting access to the evidence that'll meet the burden of proof, right? So spouses, etc. And sometimes we have to basically retain experts to come in and look at the records, do an evaluation, and they are there not necessarily to treat the patient, but basically to help us with the legal case. So these are challenges. And they sometimes aren't just to last a week or a month. They can last a year, year and a half. And I had one lady one time tell me very quietly in a room, "Jerry, I really miss me." And I said, "What?" And she broke into tears and she said, "I really miss me." And what she meant was, she missed her prior life. Before she was injured, before the car crash, she had a world that was now changed. And that's a challenge to prove, but it's the responsibility of the injured party in a personal injury claim. I hope that helps.